Hey, welcome back. We're continuing our AI series with Oak Ridge National Laboratory, one of the nation's leaders in AI and a go-to place. To give it perspective, NVIDIA went to ORNL 20 years ago because they were a gaming company and they needed help in expanding what they're doing and everything. And they're doing pretty well. I made a lot of money on NVIDIA this year. I'm kind of happy with NVIDIA, actually, but on stocks and stuff. But that's where we are. So that just gives you a breath of how big ORNL's presence has been from the beginning and how lucky we are to have them. And I mean, we got an 80-year history here. My father started there 82 years ago, so he's not there anymore. But going on, so we're very lucky. We're going to talk some more. Today we're going to talk about AI in the terms of workforce development. So I have some questions on because I'm looking at job elimination and job creation. And are we prepared? A lot of questions. A lot of questions to go. And let's get our guest on here. Amir, you've been in this AI part of it for how long?
I've been doing AI since about 2013, so maybe long. 13, 14 years. Yeah. Before it was cool. Before people were talking about it. People weren't even calling it AI back then. They were calling it machine learning. So
yeah, and machine learning is to a limited group of people, advanced manufacturing, things like that.
Yeah, machine learning was used, it's more targeted, it's more narrow, so it's used for industrial stuff and other stuff.
Those days are over.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're over. There's still a lot of applications. Yes, they are a smaller part of the pie.
So let me ask you this, and let's talk about you for a second.
Yeah.
Born in Jersey, fixed that. Went across the bridge. Right? I mean, you fixed that. You're born there and raised there. I love Jersey. I wouldn't joke if I did. All those, St. Peter's College, I had a bunch of friends that went there. That's in Jersey City, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, some other places down there. So.
Yeah, and I actually spent a few years, after I was born in Jersey, I spent a few years living in Israel.
Okay.
And then I came back to New York.
Okay, good. That must have been a great experience. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great culture. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, obviously, family connected and all that stuff. 60 seconds on Israel. I can't get young people to appreciate the things about Israel I appreciate. The numbers are going down with the young people, up. I don't know what it is. I think they just have a very generic type of experience, and I'm very pro-Israel. But I think it's people need to understand. I don't think young people who have issues with Israel have anything but respect and love for the Jewish people. I don't think that's it. Mm-hmm. I think the fact is they see all the money, all the wars, all the building, and they don't like anybody. I mean, I know a bunch of 22-year-olds, they don't like anybody. But trying to explain the horizon to them and the history is hard. Yeah. But I'm getting there. Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. I'm helping.
Good.
And trying to get it done. So you got into that, and you went over to Israel, came back, and tell me about your studies. You went into electrical, and what was your undergraduate degree?
So I did my undergrad at a school called Cooper Union. It's a small school in New York City. The nice thing about Cooper is it's engineering, art, and architecture. Mm-hmm. Everybody that goes to Cooper goes for free. So if you get into the school, you go for free.
So qualifications, high qualifications.
Yes, it's very hard to get in, but if you get in, you go for free. Studied electrical engineering. It's a great school. Yeah. Highly recommend it.
I'm going to read about that.
Spent 4 years, got my degree there in electrical and computer engineering, and then went to Cornell to get my PhD in electrical and computer engineering.
Wow.
And when I went to Cornell, I had to kind of decide what I wanted to study. And there were a few avenues. I could go into power and energy, and smart grid and stuff like that. I could go into computer engineering and looking at chips. I decided to go with, back then, again, what's called computer vision, which is kind of a subset of AI at that point.
That wasn't a technical degree, but that was a focus within the degree.
Okay, it was electrical and computer engineering, but it was computer vision. And the reason I thought computer vision was really interesting is back then, this is like 2009, computers were already beating humans at chess. They were beating humans at all kinds of games and backgammon. But if you showed an image to a computer back then, and you asked, a picture of a dog, and you asked, what's in this picture? It would get it wrong like 80% of the time. If you ask my 4-year-old daughter or my 3-year-old son what was in that picture, it would say it's a dog. So I was like, here we have a computer that can beat humans at chess, can't even tell a dog from a cat. I know we're going to make great advancements in this field very soon. I want to be part of this wave. And that's kind of where it started.
If I take a picture right now of my dog and I send it into the advanced AI, will it know it's a dog?
Yes.
Actually, so I'll be working on something, and I'll say I've got to use it. My family's not big on it. They think everything's being recorded, and it is, but that's not the issue. What are they going to do with me? I mean, the line in front of me is real big. So I said, well, I mean, I get it. I said to us, I'll talk for 50, I'll say stop. I'll say, we'll start again in 5 minutes. Can't do timers, but I will be silent for 5 minutes. I come back and I'm talking to my cat who's getting stuck in the door, right? I say, Emily, get out of there, blah, 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 blah. So it'll come back and it'll say, is Emily a dog or a cat? And want to start talking about the animal. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
It is.
I mean, you got to quick stop or you got to quick turn it off and back on again. You got to do something. But it's very essential to me and just cuts hours of time in research. I don't have to go into all that research.
Yeah.
And I know it's not accurate all the time, but it's fairly consistent, I think.
Yeah, it is, and it's getting better. You know, if you looked at ChatGPT like 2 or 3 years ago, it was a lot worse and a lot more, hallucinate, what they call hallucinations. I think they've managed to taper that down, but also it's still always going to be there, partly because, hallucinations and the mistakes that it makes, it's actually kind of part of what it's supposed to do. So if you think, for example, of we want AI to help us with science, right?
Yes, that's the main goal, right?
And that's one of the main goals. Well, to succeed in science, you kind of have to hallucinate, right? You have to, it's hallucinate not in a bad way, but you have to hypothesize.
Potential, yeah.
Yeah, you have to have vision, you have to try things, you have to experiment. And so we want AI to be able to kind of, do these types of things.
Makes perfect sense.
And not just like tell a dog from a cat, right? That's easy. We want it to do bigger things.
So tell me what AI does not do and probably will never do. And the list of what it can do is long, but are there certain reasoning functions that it will never be able to do?
That's a good question, and that's a debatable question in the field.
Yeah, I'm just looking for opinions.
There's a big talk in the field, and if you talk to big people industry, or if you listen to Sam Altman or Elon Musk, they talk a lot about AGI, and which is artificial general intelligence, which is basically having AI be able to do everything a human can do. And then they talk about ASI, which is artificial superintelligence, which is then basically doing things that humans can't even do, doing things better than humans. And they're saying that it's right around the corner. If you talk to them, they're saying it's 2-3 years away.
We'll wait till segment 4, but we got to get to singularity at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the scary thing for everybody, not just the capturing of stuff, but just erasing. And I noticed in your title, the word security's in there, so we want to talk a little bit about that later, because that's the big issue with AI. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about, in your development, in your work, I thought that Joe did a great job yesterday, or whenever we taped that show, of him doing everything that's of the different kinds of things that we use it for. Yours is a more narrow, more important kind of thing, I think, if I'm defining it right. Yeah. Do you feel like AI? Let me rephrase this, because I'm having to ramble a little bit because I don't know the industry well enough. Tell me what the major applications of AI are, categorically, not specifically, in terms of industry, warfare, and research in the energy industry. Okay. And if there's areas you don't want to answer, just say.
I'll talk about what I can talk. So, I'll start by just saying, in general, what AI is useful is, one is automation. So taking menial tasks that we currently do, or relatively menial tasks, and making them automated and not having to have humans involved in them. So that's kind of one, and that's a broad category that can be used in industry, can be used in security, can be used in research. If you think in research, if you have a data set that's noisy or has some problems with it, being able to automate the cleaning up of it and standardizing of it is something that humans used to have to do, and now hopefully we already are using AI, and hopefully we'll continue to use AI to do that. So that's one area. Okay. The other area is filtering. So we are dealing with, both in science and in national security, we're dealing with huge amounts of data that are very hard to sift through, that we don't have the manpower even if we wanted to, and we probably don't want people to be doing this. And so AI is really good at kind of cleaning up and filtering data, and hopefully allowing us to be able to focus on what's important and not waste time on things that aren't important.
I think I've touched on that in other shows. I think that it's like when you're researching, I'm trying to think of examples in my life, when you got piles and piles of things to research, like going back to ORNL data in 1943, 53, it would take a long time for somebody to pull all those manual files out.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, if it's not in a computer, it can't research it anyway, correct?
if it's
Somebody's got to input it.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you can just scan it, or if it's on paper.
I got you.
Yeah. So now we have technology that can read these and convert them into computer, into digital form, and then you can do that as well.
Interesting. Okay, so what are the real challenges for you? We're oversighting. We'll come back. We'll just hit and miss on all of this. But with security, let me go back to the second question. How I get the feeling in Venezuela and in all these other places that we have major technological advances, and for me, that's why the president's being aggressive. That's my political assessment of it. But whether it's Iran, who's the world's biggest export of terrorism, I have no support for that. But the people obviously are different. But that's just an example. You got to say one Greenland for this, with this. How much of an advantage generally? I know we can't go into details, but how much generally do we have an advantage, and how is AI implicated in the operation of a helicopter or the operation of a plane? Now I know the planning side. It can take all the facts and details and schematically figure out the best way to do something.
Yeah, well, let me say a few things. One is that, AI is unique in it's a unique technology. And the reason it's unique is because if you look at technologies of the past, like if you look at the internet or other technologies, you really needed, when they were nascent stages, you really needed an expert to deal with them. You needed, somebody had to understand how networks work, how the internet works, to even be able to utilize it for some kind of, adversarial or friendly cause. AI has been democratized in a way that other kind of revolutionary technologies have not. You don't need much. You don't need an advanced degree to use AI. Yeah. You actually don't even need an advanced degree to understand how to build your own AI. Kids are learning how to do it. There's a lot of what's called open source AI out there, and some companies are actually pushing open source. So like Meta, who has their own, large language model and own AI, is all about, all of their models are completely open source. That means that anybody in the world could just download the model and use it for whatever they want to use it without any security concerns.
And what's the advantages to disadvantage to that?
Of open source versus, So the argument for open source are that when things are open source, they're more transparent. Yes. We can evaluate security better, right? Because security, having everybody evaluating security, if it's open source, hackers everywhere can try to hack it, and so we have a lot more ways of kind of patching it up quickly. We have a lot more information. There's transparency. These models.
Now, is AI learning from the hackers?
Yes, not directly, but AI is learning from everything. Anything that's online, the AI is learning from, right? So when the hackers post something online of how they did something, that'll get consumed by these models, and then the next generation of this model will then understand how to do something like that. So for sure. Right. So going back to your original question about the advantage, I think one thing, just to, without getting into details, I do want to mention that one thing about AI is that it's harder a little bit to gain the advantage because of the open source and the democratization of these models. Now, it's true that we have some advantages in hardware, and NVIDIA's here, and we have certain things that play for our advantages, but other countries are figuring out ways of doing similar things, and so that's so I'm the research lead for our Center for AI Security at the National Lab.
I'm going to stop you because I have to, because I have to get slow understanding. So basically, I look at a company like Palantir, though.
Yeah,
it's very closed in, very secure, and a leader, massive amounts of work they're doing for our country and others, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and the bottom line is, the way I read, not about Palantir, but about the process, is that an AI system will go in, will get all the data, which it's best at, planning, implement, scheduling, and it'll say, okay, we're going to accomplish this task, we're going to do this, so here are our options within this airspace, within this building structure, whatever. Here's the best way to do it. And for some reason, but which, avoiding your point, they can communicate that down into the system where pilots or other planners can understand it clearly.
Yeah, so I mean, what I'm saying, I guess, is that the AI field has been democratized now. I'm not saying that the way we use AI, obviously, is going to be different from, country to country, company to company, and that's where real innovation has to happen. And that's actually kind of what one of my points was, part of what we do at the Center for AI Security Research is figuring out ways of using AI in innovative ways for national security.
Yes.
And so that's why we have to keep, focusing on that research and keep pushing forward, because it's not like it's not like other countries have to get some special mineral to develop AI or some
Yeah, I
special
understand.
resource. Everybody's working on it.
Everybody's got it, yeah.
The one thing for us that keeps us an advantage is that we keep investing in it and we keep doing research in this field. And
That's my point on the new money. I think that new money is aimed at those things.
Yes.
It wants to see you can build, you need the fast planes, you need the better products, but at some point, we've got to have something that's off the charts in terms of competitiveness. And I don't know if anybody else is investing the kind of money we're investing. Because my understanding is all that money being transferred is tariff money and other things. So I don't know. I think we've got a real advantage in technology, and I'm sure people all over the country have participated in that, and that's encouraging to me. It makes me want to support things a little more, maybe. But in terms of research, getting away from that, I get advanced manufacturing. I do enough proposals for the NSA and other plants and people. I understand exactly what advanced manufacturing is. I've been through the presentation 12 times probably. But I get it. But that's all AI. They're looking at the facility, they're looking at this, they're saying, this isn't going to take 24 months, in layman's terms, 24 months to build. We'll build this out in 8 months. Yeah. And here's how you have to do it. A, B, boom, boom, move that room, move this. If we'd had that at UPF 10 years ago, but, you look around here and where everything is going, I think that's all AI constructed. AI is maximizing efficiencies in how we build manufacturing facilities.
Yeah, there is. So I'm not that involved with the manufacturing facility, but I do know that they are utilizing AI more and more. Again, I do think that's...
Isn't that the first thing on though? They can take specific they can plan, build, and assess architecture and square footage and everything. AI, that's its breadbasket, to me.
Yeah, it could be. I'm more familiar, for example, for like the actual manufacturing process of like taking, things or parts of their printing, being able to assess them, their structure, their developing new materials.
It affects the timeline.
Yeah.
If you're building a $10 billion project, all that affects it, from how you build castings to how you do this or how you do that. Yeah. It's all got to be more than an engineer sitting in a corner here.
Yeah. The promise of AI, and I think, the hope is that it'll come to fruition, is that AI will accelerate all these sciences as a tool beyond where they are now. And that's really, a big part of the Genesis program, is kind of finding ways of taking AI and advancing it.
Okay. Let's take a break, Brad, and we'll be right back.
At ORNL, national security is a mission powered by science. We safeguard critical infrastructure, develop isotopes for health and defense, and protect the digital frontiers of tomorrow. In a world of emerging threats, we deliver breakthroughs for America that protect lives, systems, and the future.
America runs on power, and for nuclear power, we need enriched uranium, but almost all of it comes from overseas. In 2019, the Trump administration took action, working with Centrus to build the first new American-owned uranium enrichment plant in 70 years. And now, Centrus is ready to expand to meet our nuclear power and military needs, free from dependence on foreign suppliers. Centrus, American technology built by American workers.
This is Joe Heckman, President of Waste Management at Energy Solutions. Nuclear power is on the rise. Energy Solutions is part of this transition and part of the solution, delivering comprehensive services and assets that support the entire nuclear life cycle. Energy Solutions is protecting and preserving the environment for generations to come.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance technologies and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear, environmental, and clean energy fields.
Josh Anderson is a Republican who has fought for families across Anderson County throughout his adult life. Josh is a farmer, a husband, and a father. For 4 generations, his family has lived in Anderson County. A graduate of the University of Tennessee, Josh has served on the Anderson County Commission for 7 years and served as chairman for 3 years. Josh is a businessman who will put his experience to work for all of us. A supporter of term limits, Josh believes 2 terms as mayor is enough. Josh Anderson believes leadership starts with listening.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
At ORNL, innovation starts with discovery. From the smallest particles to the most powerful computers, we explore the unknown to unlock what's possible. We lead in quantum science, artificial intelligence, and fusion energy, turning bold ideas into emerging technologies that meet American priorities. Because when discovery drives innovation, the future takes shape at ORNL.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're talking with Amir here. We're trying to get a better scope on AI.
At ORNL, national security is a mission powered by science.
That it's affecting new jobs, old jobs. I just saw a jobs report in Washington last week where jobs were down significantly, and it's affected people. But the long-term cycle, from what I read, apparently is we're going to lose this many million, but we're going to double that on back. I question that, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. First, I think it's important we talk about the Genesis project a little bit, the Department of Energy is involved in and what it's doing, and ORNL's participation in that as it is from the going. Go ahead and talk a little bit about that, Amir. You know about that.
Yeah. So I'm not completely involved in that, but I obviously the whole lab is part of the Genesis mission now, and the idea behind it is really how do we take AI and accelerate the rate at which we move science forward. The labs, all the DOE, so it's a DOE project, and all the DOE labs have a lot of data, a lot of science applications in the medicine domain, energy, you name it. And the idea is that because of the way AI is going to allow us to move things forward, and we want to be competitive with the rest of the world, we have to figure out how to do that. And so it's bringing all the labs together, figuring out how to standardize data, how to use AI on that data. Oak Ridge is actually developing 2 new supercomputers that will be, if you look at Frontier was science-centric, it wasn't AI-centric. These new computers are really going to be focused on running AI efficiently and being able to take the data at the labs.
Okay, let's ask the question. What makes something more AI functional or more AI driven?
I don't want to get into the technical details, but the computer architecture that's used for AI and the type of calculations that AI has to do is somewhat different than kind of your general computing architecture. And
which was used in Pioneer and previous models.
Exactly.
Right.
So, for example, one common thing is you brought up NVIDIA. GPUs are a critical part of accelerating AI computation, and
go ahead.
So they're a critical part of accelerating AI computation. So these new computers will really be built around GPUs as a computing force to do AI.
Okay. So, and what's the implementation? What is ORNL doing, and where do we go on that? Are we tying all the labs together into a common AI language and a common?
That's the goal. That's really kind of why it's kind of a national mission.
Okay.
It's really taking all the labs and not having them doing disparate things on their own disparate data, but really bringing it all, kind of speaking the same language, standardizing the data for all the labs, and working cross-lab to best take AI, because AI works on big data. It needs a lot of resources, and so we need to bring everybody together to really move this forward.
Is that under the Office of Science? Is
yes.
that where? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, exactly.
So that makes good sense. Okay, let's get into the workforce development part of it, which I've done work in that and grant work and other things. I understand in a conventional sense what that does. The belief is there's 2 different theories. People are losing their jobs, and basically we're futuristically we're going to replace low-end jobs with higher-end, higher-trained jobs. Okay, I get that. So we're going to lay up, but here's my point. I'm in an AI-centered world where I have all these buildings and these workers, whatever field it is, and AI is going to come in, and of the 50,000 people that I have working for me, it's going to allow me to replace 7,500 of those people because of what AI does. But don't worry, we're going to have 15,000 new AI jobs. I don't buy that. I mean, I think from a business point of view, if we lay down 7,500, and that's the efficient thing to do, I understand that. Where are these new jobs? Where are they going to come? What are they going to do?
That's a good question. And I actually don't have a great answer to that. I do think that AI, as you said, AI, this is a fact. AI is going to be able to do things that currently people need to do, right? So we are going to have AI be able to take over jobs. I do think that this kind of AI revolution will bring about some kind of disruption in the workforce of how we train people, where we have people, and it's hard exactly to say what will everything will look like on the other side. You know, I can come up with some
what kind of jobs will they do? Give me an AI, give me a new job that you take somebody and you train them, and they're now an AI generated job, a human job, going in there overseeing AI, whatever. What kind of jobs would there be?
Are you asking what are the new jobs that AI will create?
What's
I mean, right now I can tell you that the job, a lot of the jobs that AI is creating is kind of these basically AI engineers.
Okay,
right?
There you go.
So the question is, we have this tool called AI. It does certain things. Obviously, companies want to tell you that it does a lot more than it actually can do because that's their goal, is to sell their product.
Sure.
And so having people at your company that really understand the capabilities of the AI, the risks of integrating it, the security risks of integrating into your system, and then really being able to help you engineer a solution that works for your specific company industry is, I think, a lot of what the near-term jobs will be. Because right now, and in a sense, that's a little bit of what we're doing at the lab, working with our defense national security customers, is trying to understand what is the real promise of AI, what can you really use it for, and how will you build a system that will work for what you want. And not just kind of following the hype of like, oh, AI can do everything. You know, let's just throw ChatGPT and ask it how to do this, and it'll get us the answer.
You know, this ChatGPT, I'm not into that, but everybody I've interviewed talks about Chat. Well, I mean, God, it's interesting.
Well, ChatGPT is a little bit like the Kleenex of AI in a sense that it's the first company that came out with these large language models, with these chatbots. And so when people, it's kind of like how people say when they want to say search online, they say Google it. Now, when people want to say use AI, they say ChatGPT. It's not because it's necessarily better or worse. It's just because it's the first.
So is my Grok behind the times?
Well, no. The Grok is actually another company that came over.
That's Elon's company, right?
Yeah, that's Elon's company, but it just came after ChatGPT, so people just tend to use that term.
I got it. It's just like IBM, we say, for computers.
Yeah, exactly.
Make an IBM copy.
Exactly.
Well, IBM's a brand,
exactly.
Don't make
exactly.
Xerox.
Exactly. Xerox.
Xerox.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
yes.
Xerox.
So ChatGPT is like Xerox. Exactly.
I need a Xerox copy. There's a few other industries like that.
Yeah. So when people use Grok, they might say, "Oh, I ChatGPT'd it."
I understand. Do you have a favorite? I mean, can you say?
I mean, I don't have a favorite. I think that different ones are good for different things. So there are certain ones that are really good at like coding, and they're really good at like, I'm a computer scientist.
Yeah, so
I can use it for coding. There are other ones that are maybe more useful for like factual data. I have to say that, but in the end of the day, to me, they're all relatively similar, and so I don't really have a favorite. I also honestly don't use them that much.
Yeah, me
either. When I write code or when I write papers, I like writing. I enjoy it. So I'd rather do it on my own, honestly.
And, it's like I do a lot of polling in Tennessee. Like I'll poll statewide or I'll poll this. And then I'll get polling reports every morning from Grok. I'll say, what have you learned or whatever. It comes on at the same time, scheduled task. And it comes on, and really they're just generically behind the times. They're only accessing certain older cop data. Whereas now you get into election returns or you get into money race, they got it. They're on top of it quick because they have a number of sources they can gather that up.
Right.
But them gathering up sources is very helpful to me rather than me going
for sure. That is
two. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really useful is kind of like really fancy search engines, right? Where
Yeah.
you can ask a question and they can go find the resources for you.
quickly.
That's one thing that's really useful.
So
for
everything's
sure.
about 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm only on the basic Grok, but they tell me Grok 4 is super fast. That it's just incredible how much they can do.
I see.
But I just
I
don't.
don't
have the demand for
yeah,
that. I don't have the demand for that. Okay, so what is ORNL doing right now in terms of? I'm saving security, but in terms of job development, are you working with people to help them understand what jobs they need to train for? And
Yeah. So personally, there's two things that I'm doing. One is at the lab, I'm actually basically building a curriculum for current employees at the lab. In the National Security Science Directorate on how to use AI. So the idea is we take the admins, we take management, we take researchers. Each one has a different way they want to use AI. Researchers are going to get into the details and like into the math. Right. Admins probably just want to understand how to use it to better deal with finances and scheduling. Management might want to figure out how to write proposals better or how to gather information. And so we're really developing a series of courses that help train our own employees on how to use AI better and how to use it to get advance better.
Well, and that's a pool of 3,000 or 4,000 people that gives you a good sampling of.
Yeah, it does. It does. So it's a really interesting project where we're bringing people from all over the lab. We have like an intro course. We talk about the security of AI, and then we have a split into these different expertises depending on what your expertise is. If you're a nuclear scientist or working on batteries, you would have a different way, a little bit of how you would want to use AI. So we're trying to make sure we cater to everybody at the lab.
I've been told on doing energy shows and everything that no matter what you're putting out there, you can bet somebody from China's reviewing the show, somebody from Iran's reviewing the show, and somebody from Russia's reviewing the show. And it's just the nature of AI. They can just find.
That's true.
Where's Flashman at? Where's this person at?
Yeah,
Where's that at?
That's true.
And so, that's why we're very careful. But I mean, obviously they're into everything too. We just got to get it. Okay, so.
Yeah, but let me say one more thing about the workforce development. So then the other thing that I'm personally doing is I also work with a few universities and kind of help them develop their own programs. So the University of Tennessee in Knoxville.
Where you used to work.
Where I used to work, yes. I used to be an assistant professor there. I still work there. I still teach there, and I still am involved in a few programs. They just started an AI degree. So they have a degree in AI that's separate from the other
Now,
degrees.
if I'm in Oklahoma and I've got a facility of 20,000, I need some help. What is that going to tell me in 10 seconds that he has a degree in AI? What advantages does that person that got an AI degree from UT have over somebody else?
Well, I mean, that he understands how, it kind of goes back to this AI engineer or a solution engineer, right? They understand how AI works, what it can do, what it can't do, what are the risks, and how do you need to secure them, and kind of understand the whole package so that it's not about, we don't need AI training to have people better ask questions of AI. I don't, there was, for a little while, there was like this idea of prompt engineering. That was a field. I don't think that's a real field. You just have to try a few questions
and get the right answer. 6-hour courses.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's not it. But if you want somebody to really be able to understand where AI is useful, where it's not useful, how can AI help my factory in Ohio, was it?
I made it up. Where were we? That's been 10 minutes. I'm old.
But that's where really you want people who understand the details.
I think if I had a broad enough company that was into a lot of different things, maybe we're manufacturing stuff for some defense contractors, but we're also manufacturing stuff for the city of Baltimore, and we're doing all this stuff. I need somebody to say, you can use these applications here, but you better be careful over here and not do that. So somebody that would oversee and referee that. Is that fair? Is that what
it is. And I think that, the nice thing about these degrees, and this is also true like in other schools as well, is that you don't have to also get a major in AI, but if you're majoring in medicine, or you're majoring in sports business or business in general, right, you might want to take a few courses about AI to understand how those can connect to what you're doing, because for a fact that AI is going to be integrated. I mean, medicine is going to be transformed, I think, a lot by AI. It already is, but I think that's going to be one of the fields.
Can you help the insurance industry?
Well, that I don't know about.
It's a nightmare. It is an absolute. I had a show. Flashman and I went at it, and we're very close. I'm his. He's my son's godfather, but we're banging in here. But I mean, Medicare's out of control. They don't cover anything. And he gets the explanation, it's a system, it's not the money. I said, I don't think so. I think you need to raise the money and cover more stuff. But,
Right.
you know, my point being that maybe AI can figure some of that out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know much about the insurance world, but I can tell you that in the medicine world of like looking at, and I don't want to, from the sounds of it, but I can tell you that from like, you know, just analyzing, you know, X-rays or CT scans to, you know, looking at your, you know, DNA and how you react to medicines and be able to, you know, what's called personalized medicine, really kind of, you know, right now you go to the doctor and he kind of looks at you, he tries, let's try this medicine. It's based on his own experience, which is good. But imagine now kind of a doctor who has experience over, you know, millions of patients, really have a lot more data about them. So I think being able to have a degree in whatever degree you want to have, having that little bit of experience of what AI is, how it works, and what it can do for you is a really critical piece of workforce development these days.
Brad, let's take another break, and then I want to talk about COVID and AI and its interaction.
Okay.
At ORNL, national security is a mission powered by science. We safeguard critical infrastructure, develop isotopes for health and defense, and protect the digital frontiers of tomorrow. In a world of emerging threats, we deliver breakthroughs for America that protect lives, systems, and the future.
America runs on power, and for nuclear power, we need enriched uranium, but almost all of it comes from overseas. In 2019, the Trump administration took action, working with Centrus to build the first new American-owned uranium enrichment plant in 70 years. And now, Centrus is ready to expand to meet our nuclear power and military needs, free from dependence on foreign suppliers. Centrus, American technology built by American workers.
This is Joe Heckman, President of Waste Management at Energy Solutions. Nuclear power is on the rise. Energy Solutions is part of this transition and part of the solution, delivering comprehensive services and assets that support the entire nuclear life cycle. Energy Solutions is protecting and preserving the environment for generations to come.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance technologies and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear, environmental, and clean energy fields.
Josh Anderson is a Republican who has fought for families across Anderson County throughout his adult life. Josh is a farmer, a husband, and a father. For 4 generations, his family has lived in Anderson County. A graduate of the University of Tennessee, Josh has served on the Anderson County Commission for 7 years and served as chairman for 3 years. Josh is a businessman who will put his experience to work for all of us. A supporter of term limits, Josh believes 2 terms as mayor is enough. Josh Anderson believes leadership starts with listening.
Feeling overwhelmed with your business finances? At P&L Business Services, we handle all your bookkeeping, payroll, and tax needs. From federal tax returns to QuickBooks training, we've got you covered. With over 25 years of experience, we provide customized packages to fit your business. Focus on what you love most, building your business. Let us take care of the rest. Call 865-294-4792. P&L Business Services, empowering you to grow your business.
At ORNL, innovation starts with discovery. From the smallest particles to the most powerful computers, we explore the unknown to unlock what's possible. We lead in quantum science, artificial intelligence, and fusion energy, turning bold ideas into emerging technologies that meet American priorities. Because when discovery drives innovation, the future takes shape at ORNL.
All right, we were stopping there for a break, and I was about to talk about COVID because this is a personal thing. if you've got all this data and research from COVID, and boy, they went overboard. They got data on everything. And I was a little bit involved in the stuff before it came, when it came, and after it came, and what was coming. But basically now have all this research over the last 4 to 6 years of COVID and whatever. And it seems that AI could conceptually interject into that and find quicker, better solutions.
Yeah, no, as I said, I think that medicine is one of those clear industries or avenues where AI will make a big difference, because as you said, we have a lot of data. And actually, we work with at the lab we have a VA data set, which we work with a lot of like notes and all kinds of secure data, and we can take, because the problem is right now the data is spread out all over the country.
Right.
A lot of times it's in doctors' notes.
That's right.
It's unclear, It's
but
like
most doctors use iPads now and electronics.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but if you want to look at past data, a lot of them still have handwritten notes.
Good point.
And so there are ways where we can take these handwritten notes, convert them into digital form, even though doctors' handwriting is not easy.
No.
but AI can do it. And we can take those, and then we can really do these really big analyses of different types of diseases, different types of things that might occur. And you've already seen some of these industry companies.
Sure.
Yeah, that come out like 23andMe that try to analyze your DNA and tell you certain things. But I think we're about to see more and more developments in the medicine field for sure.
It's funny, they have this test now for cancer. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it projects based on your DNA and everything, the likelihood if you have markers and likelihood of doing it. Okay.
Exactly.
But it's
those
expensive.
kind of things. It is.
And some
but that'll
states-
get cheaper. That'll get cheaper.
Well, and I think there's going to be laws introduced in Tennessee and other places where they're going to say that insurance has to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a one-time mark, save some money in the end.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's continuing to fight with that stuff. But I think that's all based on research and stuff we've been able to compile, and I would be surprised if there's no AI usage in that. I would think some. So those are the areas. Constructions of, okay, let's talk about these buildings in the Oak Ridge corridor. We have all these people talked about yesterday how people are coming here, and ORNL is a big reason because all the resources they can pull from ORNL. So you got one building being built here, one building being built. Will AI be used in any of these constructions? Do they?
Man, that's a good question. I'm not really aware of the construction
right.
side. No.
Okay, well let's go to security because that's the biggest area. You're in that, and that's your big thing.
Mm-hmm.
How seriously should we take security on AI?
So, I mean, what we do at the Center for AI Security is look at a few things, right? One is we look at the threats to AI systems. So if you think of the government right now is in some ways racing, not in a bad way because we have to move fast, but racing into how are we going to integrate AI into our different things. And this, in national security, this starts from like, I don't know if you've flown recently, when you go to the airport now, usually somebody doesn't even look at your ID anymore. You put your ID down, there's a camera, it captures your face, it does the comparison, you go in. So from that to analyzing documents to drones and other things, AI is being integrated into all these things. And there's a question of what are the novel vulnerabilities does that introduce, right? We have the traditional cybersecurity field that knows how to deal with traditional code, traditional software. AI is a different type of software that operates differently, and the security of it introduces novel vulnerabilities that people are not aware of. And so really one thing we're doing at the Center for AI Security Research is understanding what those novel vulnerabilities are, and then informing our different clients, different government agencies, how do they make sure that the systems that they're employing are secure against those attacks. So that's really one big concern of security in AI. The other one is threats from AI. So now that our adversaries have AI capabilities.
Okay, but I was going to say, the AI itself is not the adversary. It's the people that control it.
Exactly.
Just so I know.
Yeah. So as our adversaries gain AI capabilities, what are the type of novel threats that we can assume will happen? So like cybersecurity is a good example where because AI is a good coder, it codes very well. We already have seen it, but we anticipate to see more AI-generated malware, AI-generated attacks on our networks. So we need to be able to understand those security risks, understand what they would look like, and then honestly, the only way to actually a lot of time defend from this is, well, there's the traditional cybersecurity, but some of these you actually need AI to help defend against your adversarial AI. And so that's another thing we do at the center is kind of understand the threats that are emanating from the AI.
It's interesting. I don't know what areas and where it comes. The systems we work with every day, our banks and everything, are hacked a lot more than they used to be. AI used in those hackings, are those bots AI driven? Do you think?
We are seeing more and more AI usage in the kind of cyber attack domain. Yes, so that is by the way, it's not just in the cyber attack domain. If you look at like phishing attacks, right? So these emails that you get that try to get you to click something, we're seeing.
I get training at my engineering firm. I get training every day. It's really something to look at. Don't be a fish. Don't bite the hook. I mean, some generic.
Yeah, but that's because these attacks are increasing because AI is allowing them to increase. And you now can create these types of emails that are much more like personalized and directed towards you or a certain company. You can
they get your name and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we're not that far away. We've already seen examples of fake AI Zoom calls where your boss basically calls you and tells you to do something, and you see him. It sounds like him. It looks like him. You're going to do it. Your boss had told you to do that, and it ends up being some kind of AI bot that generates.
I guess that makes my rogue style very compatible with security. I mean, I ain't coming. Something of that nature.
So there's a lot of threats that are emanating from the usage of AI in the outside.
We've seen a lot of movies over the last 2 decades, different things, attacks on utility systems, software bot. Yesterday, Verizon was down all day. Mm-hmm. Everybody was out.
Yeah.
That has to be some kind of a software issue.
Yeah. There's a good chance. I don't know anything about
they
it.
Won't tell us.
But it definitely was. I assume it was a software issue. The question was it intentional or not intentional or what?
Whole country. That's what I read yesterday.
And it's hard to say. Again, I don't want to overblow. Like, there's a lot of cybersecurity risks even without AI. So it's not like every cybersecurity attack is AI related.
But if more people are using it,
but we're anticipating to see more. It'll do a few things. One, it'll lower the bar. Right, so if you had to be like a really professional hacker to be able to hack in certain systems, there's a chance that AI will be able to lower the bar. That even if you weren't that good, AI can kind of teach you, help you, and guide you through these cyber attacks, and kind of lower the bar of entrance for these cyber attacks, which means that amount of them will increase, and our defenses need to be more robust.
If he lowered the bar, will it lower the quality of the attack?
That's my point. Not necessarily, right? Not necessarily, because if the AI is trained well and trained, especially if it's kind of fine-tuned or trained to do these types of things, a person with lower level skills might be able to do a higher level attack.
And basically, let's say you're attacking 1 million bank records from the North Carolina Bank or somewhere, and basically what you're doing is you're just throwing these attacks in, and if you get 40,000 of them, you pull out the ones that work,
right,
and you attack the informational space.
Right.
I guess what I'm saying is, rather than me going in and seeing Fred and Elisa Taylor's money and pulling it out, AI should be able to pull that stuff out in groves.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying once you have access, is that what you're saying? Yeah, once you have access, then AI can help you with filtering and kind of figuring out what data to get out. Yeah, exactly, for sure.
It's a little bit scary.
And now, and now the big development in AI is what's called AI agents, which is, right now most people, they use, these Grok or ChatGPT or Gemini. They're kind of asking questions, getting answers.
Sure.
We are moving next year and next year, you're going to see an increase in AIs that are actually doing things. So, for example, like the easy example is an AI that buys you a plane ticket. So you say, I want to fly from here to here. Go find the cheapest ticket, and then it'll go to the websites, it'll search for you, it'll find the cheapest price, it might go back to you, give you some options. If it has your credit card, which at some point it will have your credit card number, maybe not yours.
No, but they won't buy many tickets.
No, people will give it their credit card number because it'll be kind of like their assistant. So it'll go buy their tickets, it'll go buy. So this is a next generation of kind of AI, is what's called AI agents, and we're going to see that both in industry and different companies, but also for consumers.
It's frustrating too, because I'm guessing I have 7 or 8 cards. I mean, 2 or 3 business, different applications for different things, and then I have some other stuff. And I just a couple, 3 bank accounts, stock accounts, and I can't talk to anybody. Now, if you have a big stock account, they'll talk to you. But I mean, otherwise, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
And it's just frustrating. I mean, nobody knows how to communicate in that sense anymore. Does the national federal government, with the federal government, do they have people constantly looking and trying to increase security on things? I mean, how's that work?
Yeah. So, I mean, I can talk about the lab specifically. I mean, the government has a lot of cybersecurity kind of entities spread out. DHS has CISA, and there's other cyber operations throughout the government. The lab itself has its own cyber operations. Both, we have our own like cybersecurity team for our lab that does a great job at protecting our resources at the lab. You can imagine that we have, some very things that have to be very secure.
Yes.
And so we have a very good cyber team operating there. Then we have a whole team that basically is cyber research, that does research for different government entities, trying to understand cybersecurity risks at, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of War, other intelligence community organizations. And then we have, the reason we created Kaiser, the Center for AI Security Research, about 2 years ago, was really because nobody was specifically addressing the securities of the vulnerabilities from AI systems. And so Kaiser was really developed to kind of fill out this hole. It was the first center, I think in the nation really, that dealt specifically with AI security. And we kind of took a bunch of programs that we had that were focused on security of AI and brought them together under one umbrella and built a real expertise at the Oak Ridge National Lab for AI security.
Let me ask you this. Are we staying ahead of the technology? Because in a lot of fields, it's hard. It's like, we talk about it all the time, that the technology outruns, the drug use is one example. Law enforcement continually struggles to get their testing of drugs up with the synthetic ability of large producers to produce them, so people don't get detected, as you've seen the recent controversy.
Right.
But, don't get detected and they get let go. And the reality is they did, but the tests aren't keeping up.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's going to be greater challenges in the years ahead?
Yeah. So there is already greater challenges. AI, I talked about how it's been democratized. It's also evolving at a pace that's faster than previous technologies. Right?
Is that costly to be for it to be democratized among so many people?
Yeah.
Is that expensive for all these people to get, or are they just dumping it on the market, or how's that work?
You mean expensive, like because they?
Why is it being democratized? Why is it not so expensive? I don't have enough money to go out and build a nuclear reactor for peace.
No, it's true. Yeah, but AI doesn't need. That's the point. AI doesn't need a nuclear reactor. AI needs some power.
It may need it for the electricity to run it.
Well, it needs it for the electricity to run it if you want to run it for 300 million people.
Right.
But if I'm just running an AI for myself, I don't need a nuclear power plant, right? That's why it's been democratized, because it's actually first of all, it doesn't have any like specific needs. It doesn't need any materials. It just needs the computing power, and people have computing everywhere. There's internet, so.
But democratized to me means you're talking about users.
Yeah.
I'm talking about providers. I'm talking about people that build the systems and do everything. Is that widespread now? Is that more?
No, because what I'm saying, I guess maybe a thing to clarify what I mean, for example, by open source models, right? So
that I understand.
You have an AI model that lives on the internet. You can now download that model onto your own desktop.
That's right.
And yeah, you have to have a more expensive desktop, maybe a $3,000, $4,000 desktop, but still, that's not that expensive.
Right.
And now you can run the AI model on your desktop. You don't need any providers. You can now play with it the way you want.
And what you do with your download is still going to upload in the system where other people can see it.
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. You have full control over it. You can have it go out to the web and search for things. You can have it just live here and do whatever you want it to do.
What use is it if it doesn't go out to the web and search for things?
Well, that's a good question. It already knows a lot of things.
Oh, that's
okay.
Good.
It already knows a lot of stuff. And again, you can decide how it goes online, what it reveals when it goes online, what it doesn't. So the point is you have control. It's not like it sits on like some open AI, server or some, Grok server, and they have control over what goes in and what goes out. Anthropic recently, which is another AI company, showed a report of how their AI was used to develop malware. And they caught it because they can see the queries that were going in and out, and they could catch it, and they kind of stopped it. Mm-hmm. Well, if that AI is sitting on your desktop, nobody can stop it, right? It's mm-hmm. nobody has any.
Are we spending enough money as a nation? And let me clarify that by saying I know you appreciate every dollar you get.
Yeah.
But are we spending enough nationwide to combat the security and do things?
I mean, I
need more. I mean, you're in business. You
I mean, more, I think every researcher that's in any field probably would say yes, we need more.
That's correct.
So yes, we need more, because AI, and especially because there's a few things. One is, as I said, AI is developing quickly. You said, are we keeping up? I think in the research we're actually keeping up, or we're trying. to keep up as much as we can. But then we have to move all of this into the departments, right? We have to move this into the Department of Homeland Security. And that's really where we need more help in kind of moving this in.
You always say types of AI or moving this kind of AI. Is AI like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Sprite? Are there brands of AI? Is there
Well, I mean, there's different brands. So maybe a nice way to put it, we put like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. There's different companies making their own AI models. Okay. And yeah, so in that case, you can think of Grok as Pepsi, ChatGPT as Coke, and like, I don't know, what's the RC Cola that's still around?
Not much.
Gemini is RC Cola.
Sprite, there's still Coke.
But then with each model, there's different things they can do. So some models just do text. Some models also do images. Some models generate videos.
However they're coded.
What? Yeah, however they're coded. And so then you have these different versions of AI that can accomplish different tasks. Some AIs are just meant to identify objects, or like an AI that lives in a self-driving car. That really it doesn't need to know how to write code. It needs how to identify pedestrians, press the brakes when it's supposed to, move the steering wheel when it's supposed to.
How well does that work?
Self-driving cars?
Yeah.
I've been in a few. It works pretty well. It works actually very well.
I'm kind of the guy who, my buddies always would be like this on airplanes because they weren't flying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have that problem. I go to sleep.
No. I've been in a few, and in certain cities.
Will they go fast? I mean,
they go
make me nervous at 75.
Yeah, no, if they're on the highway, they go fast. Yeah, I mean, they go what they're supposed to go. So I
think the highway's probably safer than the city.
I was going to say. So, but in the city, I
lived in New York too for a while. So you got to go quick.
No, and in San Francisco, I can tell you, when I was in one, we were driving around, there was a car stopped, they had to go around it, they had to stop for pedestrians. At this point, the machine learning and AI that lives on the car is doing a really good job of identifying what it needs to do and doing it well. I do think, I already thought we would be at a place where AI would be driving a lot more cars.
I did too.
But I think we still are I don't know, 5-10 years away, but it's happening.
The funny thing is they come and say AI car had a wreck, and I'm thinking, people wreck every day.
Yeah.
I mean,
people are not good
how
drivers.
How many wrecks are you talking about? You're telling me I'm safer in a self-driven car because there's one wreck in all of Houston?
You nailed it on the head.
Then the math doesn't add up.
No, people are not good drivers.
In the end, AI is a very math-driven kind of industry.
It is. Yes.
Models, projected. I've got people who work with me. I'm on a team. I'm obviously not the skilled one, but there's on the team that do a lot of Twin Towers modeling and other things. So AI does a lot of modeling, right? To figure out scenarios and stuff.
Yeah. So AI does a lot of modeling. I mean, AI is a model. So in one sense, to understand, as AI is a model, it's just a bunch of math. If we had 2 more hours, we could do a whole course.
You've done great.
On how AI works. It's really just a bunch of equations and math, and then you get in the end all these really cool answers and images and videos.
And they source where?
What?
Go to the internet? What you program? You program, you code, you build an AI center at ORNL, you're doing this. Yeah. Where does your intellect brain go to get information? Only on what you coded or outside the system?
Well, that depends on you. You can have, as I said, you can have.
I'm saying in your example, what would you say most laboratories?
Well, we are the lab. The AI we develop are usually internal.
That's what.
So we usually either develop it internally for the lab, so for the certain sciences that we do at the lab, or for our clients, for the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of War, and then obviously the models also have to be, protected.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. Okay, we got a couple of minutes. How much time?
1 minute.
1 minute. That's not a lot, right? Okay, you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
I understood it. It was broken down.
I appreciate it.
The vernacular, I think people understand now a little bit more, and that's all we're trying to do is educate them. But the important thing is to understand what a great job Oak Ridge National Laboratory is nationwide in leading the AI and the AI revolution and everything else, and contributing so much to the Genesis project, the Department of Energy, which a lot of those boys and girls watch, men and women watch my show. So I'm glad. Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah.
I appreciate it.
And I appreciate what you're doing because we need that leadership, especially locally, et cetera, et cetera. Any last words? Anything if you had to tell somebody 2 sentences about AI, what would you say?
No, it's a useful tool. Don't be afraid of it, and we're working hard to keep it secure for our nation.
And where does and you got 5 seconds, but where does our stuff go? I mean, Xeon got a big computer in his basement with all this stuff in it. I mean, where is it?
No, there's big data centers, right? We have big data centers that are built. Elon just built a big one in Memphis.
Yeah, they're getting ready to build them over here, too.
Yeah, they are getting ready to build them over here.
All right. I appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back next Thursday with another program as we continue discussing AI.